Thank you for joining me this afternoon. The Lieutenant Governor and I spent the day, I should say, traveling around the state. And again, we are both heartened and impressed with how hard everyone is working and how resilient and determined the people of Connecticut are. I want to start off by saying that a number of people have called my office and asked how they can volunteer their time to help those in need. That, quite frankly, is what Connecticut's all about. To those people, I say thank you, and if you're interested in volunteering, please go to www.ct.gov/Sandy, and you'll receive some directions there on how you can donate time, money, food, or anything else on that site. Additionally, the Red Cross is reporting, this is a special note, the Red Cross is reporting a shortfall of more than 7,000 blood donations in the Northeast. And so I would ask anyone who is used to giving blood or wants to give blood, to go to their website to find the location closest to your home if there's any way you could participate in this recovery by donating blood. Also, please call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit www.redcrossblood.org to find out where. Please, we need blood donations. A few quick updates. I lifted the highway ban yesterday. As you all know, we have had calls into the office on this issue. Apparently, there's some confusion, but there shouldn't be. Highway travel is permitted for all cars and trucks. 55 school districts were open today. We know that 15 will remain closed tomorrow. There may be more, but as I walked out here, it was 15. And 13 have already closed for Friday. Obviously, you folks are disseminating that information, would ask you to do that. Having said all of that, we are encouraging those systems that can open to consider opening, even if it's on a partial basis. The Department of Labor is experiencing increased call times into the unemployment telephone lines, so they are extending their hours until 6 p.m. for the next couple of days. Want everyone to know that. That's because people weren't able to file their claims on Monday and Tuesday. In anticipation of that increase, the Labor Department's telebenefits call center will remain open until 6 p.m. today, October 31st, as well as Thursday, November 1st, and Friday, November 2nd. While many people file electronically, this extension is important for many individuals filing in the initial claim because they will need to speak to a customer service representative to complete that process. Check www.ct.gov/Sandy or the department website for more information on that. If you have power, but you don't have cable or landline phones, please use cell phones to call your provider. They will need to address any additional outages and have no way of knowing if you're not restored unless you call. So let me say that. You get your energy back. Your cable's not working, your telephone's not working. You have to inform those folks. They don't have a system to be able to read whether your cable or your telephone's down, okay? As I announced last night, the expedited emergency declaration we received will allow for individual business and cities to apply for disaster assistance for residents in those 4 declared counties: Fairfield, New Haven, Middlesex, and New London. You must register with FEMA by phone or online to access that aid. To register by phone, residents can call 1-800-621-FEMA, which is 3362. The line for people with speech or hearing disabilities is 1-800-462-7585. The line is open from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. 7 days a week. You can also go online to www.ct.gov/Sandy to find out more. One additional note of caution this afternoon, and it's about the risk posed by mold. If you have experienced water damage, you need to be aware of this. People with asthma, allergies, or other breathing conditions may be more sensitive to mold. People who are sensitive to mold may experience a stuffy nose, irritated eyes, wheezing, or skin irritation. Please take the necessary precautions. Additionally, we are up to 11 carbon monoxide issues. This morning it was 3. Now we're up to 10 or 11. If you're using combustion to produce heat, it must be vented. And that goes for charcoal grills, it goes for gas grills, it goes for kerosene, it goes for everything. Please don't be burning anything in a closed area. A few other items to mention. We sent a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter and flight crew to New Jersey this afternoon. My office has also been in touch with Governor Cuomo's office and Governor Christie's office, and we have pledged to support any support or assistance that they might need to recover or to offer any way that we can be of assistance in their recovery. The first priority is the people of Connecticut, but we want to be good neighbors too. I also spoke with Secretary Duncan to let him know, to ask him to file an extension for the common application format. We have a lot of students, school systems, and superintendents who have been fretting over this because of deadlines starting on November 1st. He has joined us. He issued a call for that private company that handles those to talk to all of the universities and colleges covered under it. I believe that they'll extend that deadline till sometime next week. So everyone take a deep breath. We're doing everything we can on that. Let me talk about power situation, and you'll also get briefings beyond that. But I know that power is the number one issue for everyone. I've heard it everywhere I went today. We are now about 40 hours since the storm left Connecticut. So far, what I've seen is the utility companies, especially the line crews and tree crews that I bump into, working hard to clean up the aftermath of the storm and working hard to begin the restoring of power. But I also know that people who don't have power are beginning to lose their patience. And I know if you don't have power, you may not care much if these people are working hard in your neighborhood if you're not getting the power. Trust me, I get it. The utility companies have said they'll give us estimates on when everyone will have their power back by tomorrow. They'll give us the estimates by tomorrow morning. Let's wait and see what they say, and then please know that I'll do my best to hold them accountable to the people of Connecticut. I know that they'll also in a moment update you as to how many additional crews are now pouring in from around the country and internationally. Finally, I want to say something about Halloween because we've gotten some calls. Halloween, whether it's to be celebrated in a community or not, is a local call, and local officials know that they are the people who control what's going on in their community. A number of communities have addressed this in varying ways, including having common Halloween parties, calling people to their downtowns, or postponing or canceling. We know how difficult it is. I would just ask anyone who is collecting or giving out candy that they set some aside to make sure that kids who otherwise have not been able to participate may be able to participate. I'd also suggest to parents that their children share at school when they get back, or with other children who are missing this opportunity. It's unfortunate that we're talking about this in some places 2 years in a row. With that, I want to, Nancy, do you have?
Take your question.
Okay. With that, I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor. Both of us have been out all day and got caught in some traffic. That's why we're kind of rushing to get out here.
What's your?
Black Hawk helicopter, just a couple of questions. I assume, A, that's a National Guard helicopter?
Correct.
Is it just the chopper, or is it the chopper and the crew?
It's the chopper, and we flew it down. It's the crew. And the crew. And this has lift ability, so it can be used.
And you don't need it here?
We have enough, and our agreement allows us to recall it should we have a need for it. We have 4 others available to us, but we also have an agreement in place that we can recall it.
After what you've seen for 2 days traveling around to the east and to the west on the shoreline, how would you assess the recovery? It certainly didn't look too good in Stonington today.
Well, you know, I just got off the phone with Ed, so you and I saw him early this morning, relatively early this morning. Yeah, the first selectman. He's reporting a fair amount of progress, still continuing frustration, I can assure you, with respect to people being out of power. So I think we're making some headway down there. A lot of damage. I mean, you know, you and I saw their dock, their commercial dock, has been wiped out. 3 interruptions in the outer seawall, which obviously are going to have to be repaired, I would think, before we get into the winter nor'easter season. So there's some really big challenges ahead of us. That's why we are pushing our team on national relief to get us status for all forms of relief to help out in that sort of stuff as well. But progress is being made.
One of the problems that he was explaining to us in Stonington was the same problem that a lot of towns told us about a year ago, and that was there were electric lines down and they hadn't been told if they could move them, and hence they were worried about not being able to get police, fire, and ambulances to their people. He had 36 locations like that. Is there anything that can be done to expedite that in these towns?
Yeah, we are. I mean, again, on that front, this is interesting. One of the changes from last year is that everybody gets those crews. And now that everybody gets at least one of those crews, everyone wants more. And that's human nature, and quite frankly, it's necessary. But until we have a massing of resources necessary to cover the entirety of either utilities' coverage zones, that gets very difficult. So there were more people doing that today than there were yesterday. There'll be more people doing that tomorrow than there were today. Having said that, in my discussions with that, it sounds like they've all major blockages or problems have been cleared. That was what I left town with, understanding, and some of the minor ones are being taken care of. Having said that, it continues to be a problem. There's no doubt. But we had a category in many parts of our state. We had the equivalent of a Category 4. That's what we had, and I saw roads washed out today. I saw houses washed out to sea. I saw extensive infrastructure damage to municipal infrastructure. We're going to be at this for a while. And on the other hand, we're going to drive all of the people who work with us, all of our partners, and all of those who have the privilege of being our utilities to do as much as they can, as quickly as they can, and deal with the frustration. I'm happy to hear that more resources are coming in. You're going to be briefed on that in a minute.
Governor,
sure.
In terms of the federal aid, will there be, food assistance, DSNAP, and if so, is your administration or the Department of Social Services going to do anything different in terms of the application procedures this time?
Yes. The recommendations of the auditors will be implemented, and that's a ways away. That comes a while from now. That's not an instantaneous, at least the benefit that you're referring to is not an instantaneous benefit, and no such benefits will be distributed, the ones that you're referring to, until we've briefed you on it.
And have you anything new to report since your morning briefing regarding the declaration request for the rest of the state?
It's being processed. What we're doing with respect to the rest of the state is processing that. I think we're about, or may get a recognition from the Small Business Administration that is applicable to the entire state. That probably will transpire sometime today or tonight, so hopefully we'll report on that tomorrow. All of the other processing is underway, but that has to unfortunately follow the process, the more, if you will, bureaucratic process. But I'm confident that when we begin that work in earnest with those counties, we were on the phone with the municipal leaders saying that we would like to start that process by Monday with them. If that's too onerous for them, if they're still in recovery stage, we'll work with them on a slight delay. The longer we have to delay that process, the longer it's going to take to get that certification. But I'm hopeful we'll get it.
Governor, along similar lines, has the state been determined to be eligible for FEMA assistance itself? There are some states we have heard that have already applied for and got preliminary approval for emergency transportation funds. I mean, obviously, New York is going to be great.
I don't think we've been denied anything we've asked for as of yet.
We have applied.
Yeah, and we have applied for that designation, but I don't think it. But I've been on the phone with.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But having said that, on a case-by-case basis, we've not been denied anything we asked for.
Can you
What's your
talk
understanding?
about your conversation with Governor Christie?
No, actually, Governor Christie and Governor Cuomo and I have missed each other because we've all tried, but we've been on. They've been getting on helicopters. I've been walking in Stonington and that sort of stuff. But our folks worked out all of these transfers, and again, I don't want anyone in Connecticut thinking that we're going to do anything that takes away from what we can do in Connecticut. But as some of the jobs that we need to complete are completed in Connecticut, and the people who do that are freed up, then we want to lend them accordingly. And the helicopter seemed like a relatively easy thing to do.
On the other phone call you mentioned this morning, do you have any understanding of whether the phone call from President Obama to the CEOs happened and what was said?
No, that had already happened. I was reporting that happened actually last night. I don't know whether there's been a follow-up call, but the president and the secretary got on the call with the Edison folks and the utilities, and I think when you hear of the numbers that are coming in, I think it's had an impact. We're getting more from Kansas City. We're getting more from other destination, Michigan as well, are sending in the equivalent of troops, meaning the linemen and the tree folks.
What's the status of Metro North that you know of?
Oh, very good. The rumor we heard about yesterday is apparently true. And that some form of service will begin tomorrow. I'll wait. You'll get I imagine more information from them, but I will confirm that we have been told that some level of service, probably representing 50% of the normal service in and out of Stamford, will begin tomorrow. The problem is that there's probably insufficient parking for anybody, but folks who have an emergency reason to get there and don't want to drive may have that as an access through Stamford, particularly if they can get somebody to drop them off and that sort of thing. So
Mayor Bloomberg has announced that no one in an automobile is going to be allowed into town on the bridges unless there's 3 people in the car.
Right.
So there may be limited Metro North service.
There will
from
be. I am informed. We have been informed, but I don't have their press on it yet. But what we have been told is there will be limited service, constituting approximately 50% of normal service from Stamford into New York. They have not certified the line for use beyond Stamford. One last call. No, I listen. Everything in our power should be done to make sure that people have the opportunity to vote. I can tell you that the Secretary of State's office has had telephone conversation with over 220 town clerks and registrars earlier today. Lists of polling places have been provided to both utilities. They are making those priorities. We have asked all of the communities if there's any reason to switch a polling place, that we get that information as soon as possible, along with a plan to disseminate that information within the community. I am absolutely convinced that it is our obligation to somehow, some way, run this election and to give everybody the opportunity to vote. So that's our plan. And if we can find other ways to make it easier for that to transpire, we will.
Do you want to let Commissioner Rediger answer the question in North?
Do you have any more information on Metro North?
This is the Transportation
The
Secretary.
transportation, yeah.
Step up.
Hi.
Hi.
So Metro North will be operating tomorrow all normal Stamford trains, originating trains, to Grand Central. That means it's about half the amount of service that it normally runs on a day, because none of the trains can run east of there to New Haven. They are working feverishly to try to restore 2 out of the 4 tracks between Stamford and New Haven, so that Friday would be a goal to run some of those trains. 2 tracks are out of service because wires are down and some switching needs to be repaired, but if they can run 2, there's a hope that we can get some service back on Friday all the way to New Haven. We're also looking at the possibility of some busing, but busing those numbers of people is difficult. So what we're suggesting to customers is there will be service from Stamford. It will be limited service for those people who don't have to commute into the city. Please leave space for those who need to do it. But the good news is we have restored service. We will have restored service from Stamford tomorrow.
Thank you. One more thing, Governor, before
Last
you run
thing,
away.
and then I'm going.
The
I'm not
utility-
running away,
the
but I am going.
Utility companies have told us they'll be ready to make their estimates on restoration for the whole state tomorrow. Will you be addressing us tomorrow morning, and will they
Oh
do
yeah,
that at that
yeah.
time?
I'm not.
8:30
Yeah.
a.m.?
Do we have a time?
We don't know yet.
Well, yeah, we don't know
yet.
yet, but we'll
Okay.
get the notice out. Okay. But I'll definitely be with you. Okay. Turn it over to the utilities. Thank you all very much.